Yo, morning, morning. Oh, I haven't turned my lights on. Well prepared today. Let me get the lights on. One. And two. Okay, we're back. We're in. We are locked and loaded. So welcome. Happy Wednesday now it is. I hope everyone out there is doing good. Doing good. I'm going to jump straight in. I've got a new build that Pete has pushed. So we can look at some of these. Epic door. Now, I guess this script is blue because that's pretty cool. That is very cool. Yeah, okay, nice. So Pete's been working on this door. So let's have a look at this. We have our button now, which is now connected to door, which is that one. Oh, I see. Yep, okay, but then we have button 2 here, which has epic door. Which is up there, which is in itself a scene. Okay, so let's have a look at this scene then. It has a mask. I think that's why it might be where all these errors are coming in, because it doesn't have a control parent. I see, okay. The moving door, what type of node is that? An animatable body. Wow, I've never seen one of those before. And then you have the front, which is all of that bit. Yeah, okay. Well, that seems to all make sense. Both those comments just say the same thing, which I guess isn't necessary. The question is, why do we get all of these errors? I'd like to resolve those if I can work it out. I think it's these references here. They're wrong, aren't they? And ultimately, it looks like they're not even used. Are they? Because they're inside the mask. That's the problem. So let's just get rid of those and just put them in like this. Okay, so now those are correct. If we save, clear the output, I wonder if that will do it if I reload the project. Will we get those errors? No errors. Excellent. Okay, so we fixed those references, which they don't look like, those references don't look like they're actually being used. But I guess that doesn't matter. So we've got epic doors in the door now as well, which is cool. And it just takes those same turn on, turn offs, which the buttons do, right? You have a connection, which is a node, and you basically just tell the connection to turn on or off. So yeah, that button works. But I can make a plinth that will accept the idle on top, and then we can use those plinths to trigger these epic doors, is the plan in the actual levels. Okay, if we press play here to see what's going on, so we can stand on the button, which is cool. It goes straight back up when we Yeah, and look, and there's a bug. There's a bug with the air system somehow. When we pick up the idle and then we put it down, we're getting the air refilling, which doesn't really make any sense. So let's look at that, because Stefano, hello, how are you? I didn't spot this. Oh, we got a new follow on Twitch there as well. Goodness, thank you very much. Glad you enjoy the streams. Yeah, this is the epic door that Pete had made and implemented yesterday while I was out in the afternoon and evening. Pretty good. So this would be sort of the for the end of like a that's interesting that it triggers again. I'm not sure why that would be. Can probably find out in the button script somewhere. Aha. So the problem is that whenever the item count in the button sensors changes, we run this update function, and then we say, look, if there's more than one item on it, then like do the whole turning on procedure. But what we want to really do is only do this when it is already when it's currently off, and we only want to do this when it's currently on. We don't want to turn the thing off over and over again either. So the face is great, isn't it? What we sort of need to do is make it so that it only does these things when it's changing state. So if the item count's greater than 0, like look, what we need is like a variable called like state, or like is, let's call it is on, because that's clearer, right? And we'll start with that being false. And then what we're saying is if the item count's greater than 0 and not is on, then you're going to do that. And if the item count is 0 and it is on, then turn it off. And so all we've got to do is, if not is on, then we say, the first thing we say here is on is true. And here we would say is on is false. And now that should solve that one bug of making the door constantly reopen over and over again when we stand next to it. So I put that there. And let's put it like there. Yeah, perfect. Now, yeah, why doesn't it animate on the way back up? It does if you sort of do it like halfway. But why when I pick it up does it just go straight back closed? That's the next thing to look at here. Oops. Right, hang about. State toggle is always a bit tricky. Another way to handle it is making a separate open and close functions and let them check if they need to do it first. Right, yeah, that makes sense. Right, hold on a second here. Right. Right, back to it. Is your camera different or the light? I think it was just because I had like a big bright document in my face just then. We'll go back. I'm so slightly multitasking. We'll go back in to Godot now. Here we are. So draw animation play. So that's the animation player. Why? Name, custom blend, custom speed. So yeah, this works. I mean, obviously this is being triggered. I wonder what the custom blend means, what that actually means. So do we just need to add true on there? Yeah. I think that might do it. Let's see. Yeah. That works now. When it's all the way down, we pick it up. It actually closes like that. And can we jump through it? Like, yeah. Okay, that's pretty cool. Okay, good, good, good. So I think that's smoothed all of that out nicely. There's this bug in the air situation, isn't there? Handle water. Where is 46 there? So if air is greater than 0, it must be this. This doesn't make sense. But why is it making it visible? So it's like if we're in the water, then that's all working, I think. It's if we're not in the water. I think it might be this bit here. This whole thing is sus, trust me. This whole thing is really sus. I thought this was going to be problematic when I was building it, but I was like, you know, fingers crossed it just works and then I can walk away from it. And yesterday I thought it was just working, but now it seems to be not. I think it must be here. I just like print air the whole time and just see. Oh, I see. Yeah, this makes perfect sense. I totally understand what the problem is. Because we're above water, but we're moving our maximum air down to 14. So then when we put this down, the game thinks that we have... Well, I mean, I suppose that's just intended behavior at the moment. Because if we were underwater and we'd want our air to be down, so it's basically, it's just showing you, look, that you used to only have a quarter of a third of it. I guess that's like intended. When you put the idle down and you're underwater, Yeah. Huh. So actually my air lifts are all working fine. It's just something that I haven't designed it properly. Couldn't you instead multiply the amount of decrease when you hold the idle? Yeah, we did discuss that, but we decided it's clearer if the bar just gets smaller. It's just very obvious to the player, like, look, you like this shit's been nerfed. So one option is to simply always have the bar be visible, one or the other. So you've always got the air bar there. That's one option. The other option is to just leave it in. I mean, I don't think this is a particularly big issue. I should just get on with the next things on my list. The thing is, your maximum, when you pick up the idle, your maximum air goes down to this 1/3 value. But because it's at its maximum for the state you're in, and because we're not underwater, we're not displaying the bar. But then as soon as you put this down, although we're not underwater, suddenly your maximum jumps up to the full bar, but you've still only got 1/3 of it. So why don't we just say that when you put down the idle, if your air is at 14, then set it to 46. So it's just like a case of here, this is where we put the idle down, where we emit idle put down. So we just say like if air equals 14, air equals 46. And we just hack that in there. And that just means that whenever we put the idle down, if we are putting the idle down and we have maximum air, then we just keep the maximum. Now, does this break anything if we go underwater? I don't think it should. It should be fine. This door is just in the way of us having fun in the level, so I'm going to put it there, which means now we can run around everywhere instead, which is good. Oh, and we want to take the idle with us to play in the water with it, which I think we can just about get through like this. Yeah, so I think that's fine then, because we put it down in. Yeah, that seems to work now. But when you're out of the water and you pick up and put the idle down, we just maintain max. Like if when you put the idle down, you are on, like, the worst case scenario is that where this could go wrong is if we jump into the water and as we jump in we put the idle down, and you might feel in that case if you just entered the water for a second before you put the idle down, you should be starting with lower air, but in that case you've put the idle down. And so yeah, I think this is fine. I think that just solves that problem. Now, one problem is to decouple the numerical value from the UI steps. Air could just be a value between 0 and 1, and you also record what the maximum air currently is. Yeah, okay, that would make sense. But here's the problem. Look, you can get under things and then stand up and get stuck. You see? You can also pick stuff up when you're underneath something and get stuck. And that's not good. You know, we don't want that. So there needs to be like uncrouch checking. We need to check if you want to pick something up, have you got room to pick it up above your head? And if you want to uncrouch, have you got room to uncrouch? So let's look at the player, because this is all just going to be player stuff here. We need to basically be able to check this area and this area independently of one another. But these are just the actual colliders, so they're not really any good, because they impact where the player can move. What we want is over the top. Those are the hitboxes. So what we want is just like actual areas that check for collisions with the world, and the player itself is looking at the world, but it's not on the world, so we won't collide with ourselves. So yeah, I think this is easy to solve. So we say area 2D, and we'll call it high, I don't know, like space check or something, and then we want another one called mid space check. Can I call it mid up here? Mid, yeah. So sort of have these low, and that's called high, but really that should probably be called mid. Okay, I mean, it's already in the code, whatever, doesn't matter. So we've got space check here. We'll add a collider to it. We shall make it a rectangle, and it should be this same rectangle up here. And then duplicate it, so we can just pop it on there, I think. And it just needs moving. Down to there. So there's just a few cases where we need to check these things, right? Okay. So we come into the script. Player script's getting nice and long and convoluted, like it does in any good jam. We're just throwing things together. But now we've got our space checkers, we can start to implement them in. So when you pick something up, or maybe you should be allowed to pick it up. Maybe we should just simply force a crouching state. If that makes sense. No, let's keep this simple. So if you've just pressed interact and you're not holding a pickup, then we check what pickups are nearby, and if there is one, then we find out which one the closest one is, and then we pick it up. So what we'd want to do is we want to say, look, are there any pickups nearby? I guess the first thing to do, we could just do here, is or just even add it in here. We just check that there's actually room. I thought we somewhere checked. Oh yeah, if the put down area's overlapping body size is 0, then go ahead and put it down. So it's like this is the line that we need to add to up here. And then all of this goes deeper. And we say, but instead of put down area, to pick something up, we want to check if we've got space. So it'd be high space check. And these need to be not on layer 1, but looking to layer 1. Dan, hello, how are you? Big up yourself. So if the high space check is 0, then boom. But here's a question. Can we pick up things while we're crouching? Yes, we can. Okay, so that's kind of interesting and changes things a bit. Because firstly, this bug should now be gone. Wait, hold on. When we get in here like this, put it down, I can't pick it up. But if I crouch and pick it up, I still can't. And I'd like to be able to crouch and pick that thing up, I think. What are we making? So we're making a Game Boy game for the GBjam. And the theme is unlucky. So the idea is that you are like this Indiana Jones type character, and you've got this idol that you've stolen from a temple, and you're trying to return it because it's cursed or whatever. So whenever you're holding the idol, everything in the temple is like all the traps activate, and you're going to sort of, you're like in your unlucky mode. But you obviously need to move the idol through the temple, but when you're holding it, you know, it's chaos. So it's a bit of a sort of puzzle platformer involving this, you know, working out where to move the idol to and how to navigate through the traps and stuff. And right now, specifically what we're working on now is making sure that we don't get stuck doing things like this. You know, we need to avoid all these kinds of scenarios. So that's what we're doing now. Sounds good. Oh, thanks. Yeah, it's cool. Like, we're having lots of fun with it, and the color palette stuff I think I'm really excited about. We're going to be able to make these levels look really cool, because look, we've got like this water shader, so when you go underwater everything looks cool, all the pixels are looking legit. But then we've also got these like light and dark areas, so you can see the sort of color palette slightly changes in these lighter areas and up there in the darker ones as well. You can't really see it, but the water also does the darker effect. Could you create a collision shape above the character to represent where the body would be? That's kind of exactly what I've done. So we've got these high space and mid space checking areas. So this one checks that bit, like the head, and this one's checking above the head. But there's just a complication to it, because so what we want to do is we want to say if the high space check is clear. So it's like, what we're saying is like, if you're not crouching, so it's that really. If you're not holding the down key and the space above your head is available, then you can do it. And I think we want to put all that in brackets, because that's like one option for us. And then the other one is, or this is going to be a very long and ill-advised line of code, but it's just going to be almost identical, except we're checking the other case, which is where you are crouching and the mid space check is fine. So now we can pick that up, but not there, because our head is now colliding with that door, which is fine. But if we stand back here, we're good to go. And then if we can get in there and drop the idol, we can't pick it up when we're standing, but if we're crouching, we can pick it up. Okay, so that's all good. And now we just need to make sure that when we're crouching, that's the pickups part of it done. That line of code is absolutely ludicrous, but whatever. It's fine. I think it's clear if you can still pick it up, but you're forced crouched. When action is prevented with no feedback, it looks broken. Yeah, that's true. That is true. Maybe we can still do that anyway. Maybe we can still add that in. Let's get the crouching thing sorted first. So, where was it? Here, I think. I think it's quite a... Oh yeah, here it is. It's quite a small function. It's kind of hard because we have to hold the player crouched. Means we need to kind of create a new state. This is something to add later. Yeah, I mean, I just want to prevent the players from being able to get stuck in like, you know, in the wall and stuff, and glitching themselves into a wall just by uncrouching. But yeah, the way I've built everything else so far doesn't lend itself very nicely to it. We've got this massive handle colliders thing here, so this kind of deals with the colliders side of crouching, and the other function deals with just the actual animation and like the player movement aspect to it. What we really want is to have a state where the player will be in crouching state or something. Or maybe we just have another situation here. We say, or if like you're not pressing down, which if we get to here, you're not pressing down. So if you're pressing down, do all this stuff. But like if you're not pressing down, but it's tough because then we have to also check whether you're holding something or not. There's so much going on here. Are you currently checking every frame to see if the button is pressed? Yes. It's like, yeah, it's clunky, I know. I'm just... it's like the classic thing with the jam, isn't it? Instead of trying to go back and clean things up, I just try and force progress going forwards instead. So how can I just force actually adding something without having to rebuild anything I've already done? Because we're pretty close to the finish line here with the player, really. Where does it move to standing up when not pressed? Well, it's just like I said, it's just if you are pressing it, then we play that crouch animation, and if you're on the floor, then we make sure that you can't move. We're kind of just like pushing your X velocity downwards faster than you're able to push it upwards by moving. So it ends up with you sort of screeching to a halt. Is play a temporary thing? What do you mean? Oh, play. No, yeah, so that's That's a 1 frame animation, so we need to keep pressing. We need to keep doing that. Otherwise, it's going to default to idle. So yeah, this handles that, and this bit handles the movement part. And then we have the colliders bit here. So Elif, how do we check if we're holding something? I think we can hack this in. Pickup. So if like, if we're not pressing down, but like pickup is null, and the space that your head is in which is mid space check, and I think I have the it's just that, isn't it? To say basically you're not colliding with anything. So if you're not holding a pickup, well, I suppose either way, if there's no room, if mid space check is blocked, then we definitely need to crouch. So it's that, or pickup does not equal null, and the high this needs to be if it's greater than 0. We're saying like, is there something there? And that's the same, but that one's for high. And also after this or, these are both together. Okay. So in these situations, we have to force some crouching, which is all of this stuff. Plus the animation. And if not, then it means you're standing. So I think this just forces like a kind of imitated crouch state, basically. Let's see if this works. Looks good. Oh, but that's the problem then. So because we're in like a fake crouch state, the movement stuff needs to also be in there. It's kind of dumb, but like whatever. You see how we like place, right? We also need to just like hack that movement, the movement stuff in as well. But we're not feeding delta into handle colliders yet, so we need to do that up here. Okay. So I know this is like terrible practice, guys. Like this is not the way anyone should ever do things. But like it's working. It would be cool if we pressed pick up there to force into a crouch state. But also you can't move, like we might not design levels that do this, but it's just future, like, because I don't think we want probably the solution to a puzzle to be you have to do this through a tunnel. More likely, if we have tunnels you're not going to be able to get through, there'll be one block high, and we'll have a puzzle where you need to put the thing down and then start triggering a dart trap to shoot the, you know what I mean, to shoot the thing through. That would be cool. But okay, I'm happy with everything now. I think we've tidied up quite nicely. And now it's probably time to implement some new stuff. With more time we can make a push action. Yes, that would be cool, yeah. Right. What for now, then? We're sort of not far from being able to do level design, which is very exciting. So let's look at our list of features here. All the hazards are done. We wanted to have these little moving dudes that you can bounce off their heads, maybe, we were thinking. I've sort of done the guts of that scene manager script, to be honest. Not quite, though. We'd need a few more levels, actually, to really make sure it's working. The exit level plinth is something that needs making, but that's just basically another button. It's like a remix of this button item, except that it will only accept the idle. It won't accept normal blocks or the player. And it will probably make it sort of stand up a little. It will probably be like 16 pixels high. And we'll probably use that same animation I used in Gravity Boy for the sort of teleport pad that you exit the level on. I think we could reuse that animation because that was quite fun. I'm just going to go to the loo and then we'll get cracking on the next thing. All right. Sure for luminous sunroom, if only. Okay, this is looking cool, though. Like, I wonder about the scaling of the water. Also, it looks like the collider has been moved off. There we go. That's better. To be fair, I think the water shader needs work because the sprite shouldn't be the root node, and it should also, this should be a scene. The way this is all set up, though, I don't want to mess with it. But I wonder if we can get the scale just back to 1 and 1 on that guy and link those back together. I guess that's because that's the size of this. Okay, so yeah, let's fiddle with this just for a second. So the water top texture, where's that? I guess it's in shaders. And that's water top. Which file is it? Where do I see which file it is? Water top 1. Okay. So I want to open that. Let's look at this file. Can I open an A-Sprite? Skip. Okay, so it's just a 16 by 16. So what would be best would be if this was just a 16 by 16 square. Okay, which probably means we could just use this, because we're not actually looking at the texture at all. Can't we just use that itself? So weirdly now, it's gone into subpixels somehow. So the question is, how many times are we cramming this in? Frames for speed, scale, duration. Do we see that in this shader somewhere? Times 2 and times 8. So if this was scaled yeah, this is hard to get my head around. So this is scaled by 8 times. Are those real pixels now? No. Let me just clear the... Just trying to work out how many times he's cramming that one texture into this top bit here. Because let's get it back to 1.0. The ideal thing would be if this was just, you know, one piece. UV scales with the polygon. You want an absolute reference, right? Okay. mean, I could just eyeball it, perhaps. 4 and 8. Because if we eyeball it, we'll probably be able to tell. Right? Like, that looks too small. If it's stretched like that, I think that's it. 4 and 2, right? Do those look... No, they're sometimes half pixels. So I wonder, why is it showing that there's something, but it looks kind of crazy. Like there's stuff behind there that we can't see. What does this look like right now? Yeah, it seems to be broken. Somehow I think I've broken it by having it scaled. Having scaled it the wrong way. I don't really understand how this thing works. Maybe I need to just let Pete get on with it. Yeah, look, now it's all broken and weird. Oh no. How have I done that? Oh, wait, it's moving around as I move the perspective around. Okay, you know what, let's just undo everything we've done. Is that working now? It looks like now it's back to working again. Probably because I replaced that texture there, that was probably the mistake. Yeah. Okay, we'll just leave it at that for now. Ah! Oh my god. Just put it like over here or something. For testing purposes. So... little NPC dudes that walk around would be very cool, right? And you can jump on their head. I think that's a good idea. And because I just think there'll be some emergent complexity can come from that. In terms of like, imagine we have a level where... So the way they worked in Gravity Boy, let's just do a little design, like mock-up of what we're thinking here. I'm thinking like some kind of like spring-headed totem face thing, you know? I don't know, something like that. And then maybe like this sort of spider legs. Bit like Breath of the Wild kind of walking thing. Yeah, it walks around like that. Side to side. Are you going to export to Game Boy? Oh, Paul, what a question. No, I don't think so, because I don't know how to do that. But we'll definitely have it like playable in browser, so people can play it in browser. I don't know if we even could export from Godot to a Game Boy. Probably not. That would be fun though, if we could. But the idea is this little dude will walk around, and the way I did it in Gravity Boy was they just simply check, you know, like they check for walls, and they're like, oh, there's a wall there, so now I won't walk that way, I'll go back. And they check for ledges. So you kind of, like, I guess if we let's draw in blue, we sort of want like them to have like a box that they check here and a box that they check here. And what they want to do is they want to be like, well, I'll only move this way if this one is empty, if this one is air, and if this one is solid. Because then I know there's floor there and there's air there, and then they walk into it. Now, what would be cool about this would be then you could have puzzles where, like, let's say there's like there's like a dude here, but you need to jump off his head, but you need to jump off his head over here. So then you have to fill this bit with blocks so that then he'll walk across. You know, or maybe it's like a door that like that you open from above or from below, and that door opens up and fills the gap. So then you can make the dude walk across. So I do think these guys will add some fun, and also you'll be able to jump off their heads and bounce a little bit higher than we can from a normal jump, I'm hoping, which will also be fun. And they'll be able to kill the player, so they're like a hazard too. And when you hold the idle, they'll move really fast. So they'll be like a nightmare to kind of dodge. And if you want to try and jump on their heads, you might miss jumping on their heads and then get eaten, you know, or get like damaged by them. So yeah, I think it's cool. I think it will work. So we just need to make it, basically. We just need to make this little dude. I don't have any art for it either yet. Risky, how you doing? Would you want them to walk across water? I would say no. That could be fun though. If they sunk in water, that could come into play for a puzzle as well. Yeah, or maybe they float. Like, maybe they don't walk on water, but if you raise water like underneath them, then they just stop moving, but they just float on it. That could also be another thing. I guess puzzles. This is why I want to finish all these features as soon as possible, because then the puzzles, you know, if we need to add mechanics or things to make a puzzle work, we can. The puzzles can kind of lead the development from that point onwards. Whereas if we're like just doing the actual level design on the last day and just banging them out quickly, then that's a little bit less useful. Right, 2 seconds. I'll be back in a minute. All right, we're back. We are back. Let's crack on, yeah. Yeah, shout outs to you, Whiskey. Good morning, good morning, good morning. So if we make this little dude now, I think this would be fun. And how big would we want it to be? Do we sort of say it's like basically the size of the idol here, but you know, but with legs coming out the side, so it'd sort of almost be like maybe 2 tiles wide, with a little head in the middle and then the legs poking out, or 3 tiles wide. It could have quite big legs. Maybe we should make them 3 tiles wide. This is just slightly narrower than 1 tile, actually. This little dude. I suppose it doesn't massively matter at this point. Does it? Don't think so. Let's create a new character body 2D called Spider. We'll just call this enemy type of spider. I might spider, yeah, spring spider or something. And then we can save this scene in there. And then let's give it a sprite. And what I think we'll do is we'll make its legs deal damage to you, but its body is just a normal block, and then its head is springy. So it's sort of gonna yeah, I think this will work. Let's give it the idle sprite for now, and give it a couple of box sprites. We'll just say leg 1, and we'll make it like, I don't know, half the size or something. Put it there. And there. Something like that. That can be how it kind of roughly looks. Oh, sorry. 2 seconds then. Okay, so this little guy should do just nicely. Let's move it over here so we can see what we're doing. Because it's kind of here. And then we'll put one into the scene as well. I think that's nice to see. Spring spider. That's funny. Why can't we see it? Oh, because this hasn't been saved with all the stuff in it. There we go. So if I put him like there. Let's have a look at that. Okay, yeah, you can see it's these little weird little legs glitching out, but that's fine. That just gives us a rough idea of what's going on with this dude. We'll get proper sprites going from later, I suppose. In fact, I know probably a nicer way of presenting it for now. We'll keep those at 1 and 1, but make them, yeah, perfect. Okay, there we go. Looks amazing. He's got his little legs poking out. Okay, so this would mean that he's two blocks wide, which I think looks good. He needs to have a collider for his head, which is like basically this is just the platform that he is. And then we want like the jump zone, so the spring itself. Let's just call it a node actually, and just have spring there, and then we'll put an area on the spring. But it might mean we could have a separate sprite and stuff later. So we'll call it spring area, and we'll put a collider on that, and that will be another rectangle, which will make something like that. I think it's probably good, or maybe it doesn't need to be quite so wide, but like that looks fine. And then we also want his like hurt boxes, like the bits that cause damage to the player, which would be like on the spikes. What did we have on the spikes? We had damage, which is on level 4. Okay, so then this guy needs to have another area called damage, which will contain 2 colliders, which will be a rectangle, that sort of shape. So if these hit you, that's it. That's where you're going to be damaged, yeah? And then we'll put another one over here. How funny that that's like half pixels. Why does it line up there? Oh, I see. It doesn't. It's because these go like that. We just have to see that and that. Yep. Okay. And now they're both centered around the same spot, but they work. 256 kilobytes of data. Yeah, I think an empty Godot project would absolutely stomp all over that. So damage area is going to be on layer 4, like the spikes damage layer is just on layer 4. So that should just work now. That will be damaged. That's sorted. The spring area, this is something a little different. We got water, so I think we'll put we'll just make it look for the player, and then whenever the player touches that, we just fire the player up into the air. It should be fine. And I guess we probably want to actually bring this in then like that, so the player does have to actually land on its head to achieve that, because... Well, no, hold on, because we don't want the player to be able to land on its head and stand there. I think that will be fine. Maybe the actual collider of the thing could be smaller like that. It's probably not going to matter if he's only moving left and right. Make those a bit larger. Like that. Okay, I'm kind of happy with that for now. And then we'll have like a script. Basically this. Let's put a script on the guy now. No template. Oh no, let's use the template, because there's certain things we do want it to be able to do. It doesn't need to jump, although we could have spring velocity be a constant here. What's the player's jump velocity? It's still at minus 200. So minus 400 sounds cool. Unless I'm missing something, you only need a body collider and an overhead one. Right. These ones here on the edges, these are for dealing damage. So if he walks into you from the side, you'll get damaged. Then this one is the one that's actually going to collide with the world, because he's just going to be on... He's just a block, just like a normal block in the world. If they fall onto the player, they'll damage the player because the legs will touch the player. But no, the head itself doesn't deal any damage, is the way I'm thinking. I mean, it could do. We could just put him on layer 4 there, so then even his head damages the player. But we need time for the player. If the player falls on his head fast, for the player to be sprung back upwards. I think this will be fine. Let's just keep going with this for now. So if Not is on the floor, then add some gravity to the dude. That's fine by me. Gravity is... The fall gravity we're using is the standard gravity, so he'll just be using standard gravity for falling. That's fine. He can't jump. And the direction he gets is not going to be that. Velocity is direction times speed times delta. Else move towards 0 at your chosen speed, whatever. Okay, fine. And then we just sort of need to randomly pick values for direction. So we could have like direction options, and just make it an array that goes like vector 2 left, vector 2 0, or vector 2 right. And then every few seconds we just choose between these. Um, I think direction needs to be out here, and it can just be 0 by default. But then every now and again, let's give him a timer. Or maybe it doesn't even need to be a timer. Maybe it can just be... I mean, I guess they should never fall off anything, but I guess leaving gravity in isn't a problem. So we'll just say like var choice equals a random number, like mod, like what, 1,000 or something. And then if the choice is 0, then we're gonna do something. We'll say like direction equals direction options randy mod 3. And also, this direction is just actually, it's not a vector. This is just a single thing. So we say 0. This actually just needs to be -1, 0, or 1. So it's a bit convoluted. We don't really need to do this like this. But this should work. Maybe he should walk around now. Or not? Interesting. I wonder why that is. If it's just 1 by default, then he should immediately start moving. And then let's just comment out all of this. So he should just now just walk to the right. He does. So what wasn't working here? Were we just unlucky? Should it just be like every 100 instead of every 1,000? It was just too unlikely that you would do anything. Okay. Yeah, and we took damage when we stood next to him there. So he's very slow. You'll double the speed there. Can stand on his head quite nicely, that's fine. He's trying to walk into that, but can't. But he should eventually start moving to the left. Okay, I mean, it's working pretty well already, to be honest. Yeah, it's working pretty well already. So this isn't particularly precise. What might be better would be to kind of make, Yami, hello, how are you? Big up yourself, welcome. Might be better to make it more predictable. Then again, I think this is probably fine for now. We should see about getting the spring area working. So if a body enters the spring area, if the body is the player, then body dot velocity dot y plus equals spring velocity. So that should just throw a load of velocity onto the player. Yeah, okay, we know how that works. That's a big old jump. Let's put him out in the open where we can really see just how big a jump it is. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Maybe slightly too much. But it ain't bad. Let's go with 300 here, maybe. Yeah, that feels good. And we can do it holding something, I presume. Yeah, we can. But other things, if we drop other things on him. Oh, he's been like lodged in the ground. Why does it kill us instantly? Oh, because we're holding the icon, of course. Can he move? I don't think he can. I think he's just like wedged. You know, really everything should spring off his head. These guys are rigid bodies, so they can't bounce. And that's why they should have been character bodies all along. They don't have scripts on. But we can apply a force to them, can't we? Because we did that with the dart. The dart was doing apply central impulse like this. So I think we can use this, where we come in here to the spring slider with spider and we say, L if the body is a box or an icon, idle we called it, of course, then this line of code. And we'll go spring velocity and would say vector 2 up. Okay, I think this is gonna be interesting. Sek, how you doing? It doesn't work. Oh, didn't it push it up then? That's funny. You should not say I told you so. Weren't you the one advocating for them to be rigid bodies? Anyway, they don't actually have a script on, so I think we could quite easily change them to character bodies and move and slide them if we wanted to, but I'm surprised this doesn't work, because this worked. And that's just going to be a normal vector as well. Oh, did you? Character bodies and rigid bodies are not friends. Fair enough. It should be able to just throw this force at it, though, I would have thought. Like, why can't we just apply... Okay, let's just check that's working. How are you anyway, Sec? Hope you're good. So it's not even detecting that dude. Which makes sense because I believe it's not looking for them, actually. That makes perfect sense. So if we look at the spring area, it's just looking for the player, but it needs to look for pick-uppables as well. Then I think we should be good to go. We should see this guy go flying. No. We got a yay, though. Because this guy's pick-upable. Maybe it's just not enough. What if it was like times 5? Like in the art. Oh yeah, what, the big head here. This was Pete made this. Which is pretty good, isn't it? It's getting there. Okay, so let's see. We didn't even get a yay that time. We didn't get a yay that time either. Oh, I removed the yay. Okay, let's put... I got rid of that. Let's put it back in and let's multiply this impulse by 50. Oh, hold on. Let's multiply it by -1 because we're multiplying it. Oh no, what we're going to do is multiply it by minus spring velocity because the spring velocity is a minus thing, but we want it to be positive. I think that would be it. No, still didn't work. Huh. Okay, how about this? Oh, that worked. But only once. Interesting. We want it to keep bouncing. I wonder why. If we do force instead. No, it's worse. This doesn't work at all. Or something. I don't think it's a question of it being more powerful though. Well, I mean, it's working every time. How is it dropping so fucking hard? What if it's times 2? It's pretty good. It's not very predictable at all, is it? Compared to the movement we get from it. Just like super predictable. I really do want things bouncing off of its head. I mean, if I turn them into character bodies, there's no script on them anyway. Shooting them with darts will break. Yeah, I think we should just make the idle in the box character bodies then. And we'll just add scripts to them that just say move and slide. And apply gravity to them. And probably we'd give them the same jump and fall gravity there. And then we can basically just apply a jump to them, kind of like we're doing on the play, exactly like we're doing for the player. And then we'll need to go and fix the interactions they have with the darts, because the darts won't be able to apply a central impulse anymore. They'll have to add some velocity. But that's fine. We'll come back to those. So let's do that. Let's change these to character bodies. At least let's do the idle first and get that working, and then go from there. So it will want a script, and the script will have the same gravity constants as the player does. It won't need a jump velocity or a speed, because it won't be moving like that. But it will steal the gravity logic from the player like that. So that way on the way up, it's got less gravity applied to it than on the way down. And then move and slide. And that's it. And then we can just throw forces at it. Like we can just impact its velocity. And I mean, I guess well, let's keep them separated for now, because we might want to treat them separately, but let's just copy the same line of code over. That's better, isn't it? Funny how it got moved. It got like pushed left and right. And it's just like this, like completely like... Yeah, that guy moves it. Okay, so it needs some friction. We need like just how the player has friction when there's no, like this. That's what we need, that line for the idle, just all the time. And then give it the deceleration constant that probably will need like a slightly smaller value for that than the player, but let's see. Seems really good. I'm just trying to jump on top of it. Okay. Seems to be working a lot better. The spider needs to like be checking where it can and can't move to, I think, so that it's colliding a little bit better with these things. Like, it shouldn't try and walk into an idol. Also, I think we can we just walk into it from the side and get sprung up? Yeah, we can, and quite a lot as well. We got like, I think we had like 2 or 3 frames where we were colliding with it there. We don't want that. So it's almost like these kind of need to be all the way around. I think we need to go back to these being like that. This needs to be the wider dude that prevents us from walking into it, and then this needs to come in and require that we are a bit more precise. It means that we might be able to stand just on top of that little edge there. But hopefully we can't just walk into it now, and that would be enough for a jam. Yeah, we can just do that and just die, which is better. Jump off its head. Oh. One moment, please. Based on what just happened, would it be worth making the character only bounce if he's in a falling state? That's another way of solving it, actually, of what I was just looking at. Yes, absolutely. I think what we've done works too. Nice one, Stefano. Thanks for joining us. Big up yourself. Peace out. But this is working fine. That's kind of good. We need a little animation to play, obviously, on the spring guy. The spring guy's art isn't final. There we go. Look, it's like just on the edge. So I think these probably just need to be in line with one another. Does that mean, can we run into him then and spring up? Hopefully not. Yeah. How did that? I guess this guy can walk onto the button, can he? If he walks onto the button, does it press? I think he can't get up there. That was weird. I think let's see. Can I recreate that without the spring spider? I have a theory now as to what's going on with that. Just another little bug on the button by the looks of it. Like if this is pushed up right against the edge there, and then I'm on the edge here. Yeah, that's weird, isn't it? It's like it thinks. Why is it starting from the bottom there? We've not even used physics for that button. I don't think we're using physics for it visually, but we're not using physics for it in terms of detecting if it's on or off. We're literally just doing that by saying, like, is anything overlapping with it? We've got like a detection area, haven't we, on the button, above the button there. I think this may solve the problem, although that may also cause other situations where you can put something on the edge of the button and not trigger it. I think the problem is actually just with the epic door, wherever the epic door is. Is it not open? There it is. It's going to be to do with this. I think if this is triggered and I just want to say, like, because door move is the one animation that we have, right? On, and we turn the shader off at the end. I see, okay. And the position just moves from one to the other. So I think it's just, are these just like seconds? So you only want to do this if, like, door animation dot frame something, or playback position. Let's look at animation players. So I think we want to say it's about that. If that does not equal 0.0. If it equals 0.0, then it means you're switching it off, but the door's already closed, and therefore you don't need to worry about it. I think that's going to solve the bug. Bug. Like, that's not touching there. There we go. Although it triggers it. We've created new bugs. Okay, so that definitely does. That doesn't work. You know what I think might just work? Actually, you know what? I don't think it matters, because these big doors aren't going to be triggered by this button anyway. They're going to be triggered by the plinth. So we can just make it work totally differently. This door doesn't ever need to turn off. It will just open, and it will be it'll just be a one-time thing. It just opens and that's it. Bessie's tweens. Oh, right, okay. Well, yeah, I'm solving a non-issue here, because this door's never going to be closed again. They're just going to open, and then the player's going to exit the world. These are for the end of each world, you see, so. Should be fine. Why is this script a tool? I don't think it needs to be a tool, does it? It should still just work exactly the same. Oh, cool! Look, we jam the door shut with the idle. He's going to eat the idol. Okay, cool. Let's get back to our spring spider dude, who I think is nearly finished, really. Oh, no. Now that the idol's bouncing around, we need to make the same happen to the box, but we also then need to check the dart impact. So let's first make the same changes to the box. Give it a script. Create the script, the idle script. We'll copy and paste. The box gets just the exact same treatment for now. And so then now we should be able to go over back to where the darts are firing. Okay, we're not. We need to prepare ourselves a little bit for this. I still want to make the spring dude like check its surroundings a little bit better. So many puzzle possibilities, do you know what I mean? Oh, and this, we want to move back to here. So we can see how that works. Again. And yeah, we get an error because you can't apply a central impulse to a character body. But what we can do is what the spider does, which is just add some velocity. So if the dart says velocity, so the direction is going to be a vector. So it's that. We're going to just plus equals direction times force like that, I think. At the very least won't cause an error, but I don't know whether it's going to work and do what we want it to. No, it's still just made an error. Oh, it just needs to be, actually we just need to throw that against the whole velocity of the object, not just its y coordinate. It's pretty good. I mean, I think that was perfect. Let's move the player back around to over here so we can see what's happening. It's really nice. It's exactly the right amount. Oh, not quite the right amount. Okay. So it'd be cool if we could make it just a little bit harder than that so it can actually fall off the edge of that after 3 hits. So back to the script, look at the darts force. Let's try 200. A little bit more than it needs to be. Try 190 maybe. That looks good to me. It's like ever so slightly more. It's hitting it ever so slightly more than 1 tile per hit. I mean, could it be 87, you know? Just to really dial that in perfectly. That looks good. It looks like it's right in the middle of that block now. Yeah, that looks perfect. Let's go with 187. Okay. So now the spring spider just needs to be a bit smarter so that he doesn't walk into buttons and walk into idols and you know, things like that. So move the player back over here now. And yeah, we just need to give the spring spider some intelligence. It should check if there are any bodies either side of it. And it should also be checking for floor next to it, and then it could base its decision of where it moves on that, perhaps. Right, 2 seconds here. Right, sorry, back to it. Nice one, Risky. Take care. See you soon. But big up yourself. So, yeah, making this little dude so that wherever we put him, if we put him on some edges, he won't walk off the edges. And I think also, like, it's so crude at the moment. It would be really nice if he had like a timer, like a decision timer. So let's start by doing that. Decision timer. And I don't think we need, this is very cumbersome. Like selecting between left, right, or still I don't think requires this. Like we can just say like Randy mod 3 would be 0, 1, or 2. So -1. So just like that. -1 gets us the same result. I guess we can test if that's true now. See the little dude walking around. There he goes. Is he going to come left? He can come left. He can be still as well. He seems to be doing all the things correctly. That can just be one line like that. I wish I had that art to play around with a bit. I'd give that GameJam a go. Nice. Well, there's more as well. This is the thing. Look at this. I'll show you something cool. The door here. Where is it? Epic door. Somewhere. Look at this. We've got jungle. Tomb. Or inner tomb. Which I think... Does that change things? Maybe Pete said he'd set up the E number. Oh, he set up the E number. Hasn't actually set up the art to change yet, I think. But there should be. It should be in here somewhere, like the door. Like if we look at the front layer here. Look at that. There's different ones. Pretty nice, huh? You got the backs and the all this stuff. So that's that's kind of fun. I think we just need to basically say, look, if it's this or if it's this. Oh, the script is no longer a tool. But actually, no, it just looks like Pete hasn't actually implemented it changing at all anyway. How willing is Pete to working together? I have to ask him yourself. It's Clockwork Village in the chat when he's about, but I don't think he's on today. Are you in the business for trying to find an artist, are you? The funny thing is that Pete actually doesn't do the art for us normally. But he did knock out these doors the other night. Well, I mean, this jam ends on Monday. It is a good one though. The GBjam. I've done it. This is the third year in a row now. I mean, I think if you're looking at doing it for this particular jam, I would say Pete's probably going to say he's putting all his time into this because he normally does all our music and audio, and I don't think he started that yet. So I don't know if he's going to have time to do another one, but you never know. You can ask him yourself, I suppose, if next time he's in the chat. So continue here. So what we want to do is have this decision timer auto start. I think 3 seconds is maybe a good average. And then just whenever it runs out, we'll reset this. So instead of so I'm just curious, when direction is 0, does that count as it still being like true, like from like a bool point of view like that? When do we get test whenever he's still or not? Yeah, we do. Do we? He must have been trying to move to the right then when it stopped, but was colliding. So, okay. So that's fine. So then, yeah, so this is working. We're getting the move towards 0 thing happening when the direction is 0. But instead of this happening like that, or that, it's just this. We're just going to reset that once every 3 seconds. And the decision timer is not a one shot, so every 3 seconds he'll change his mind now, what he does. He must keep choosing still or to the right. We just haven't had him choose left yet, and because he's only making one choice every 3 seconds, it's taking ages. But eventually he'll move left, I hope. And then we can declare that the code is working. There we go. The code is working. But we don't just want to pick randomly now. What we want to do is we want to actually look at our surroundings and see what directions are available, and then choose based on that. So this is where we get into, okay, let's put some sort of detection stuff going on here. And these buttons are only small, right? If you look at, like, yeah, they're tiny. But anything that this guy needs to look at to see if he can move around is going to be on the floor as well, right? So the way I think I want to structure this is, we'll say make decision, and have that be a function in itself, which then means I can call it in other parts of the logic. Like, we can check for collisions on areas, and when, you know, when there's a collider, when we find that there's a new collision somewhere, then we have to make a new decision basically about which way we're walking. So we want to know that there's room to our right to move into. It's like 4 different areas, because we also want to be able to distinguish between left and right. So we need 4 area 2Ds here. And we'll call this right space check, and we'll give it a collision shape, and it's going to be checking for world. It doesn't need to be on world, it's going to be checking for world. They're all just going to be checking for world, because we want him to be able to move into the player. We don't want pick-upable things, but then pick-upable things are part of the world. So yeah, I think this is fine. I think he just needs to look at the world, and the collider for checking the right space can be a rectangle that goes there. So that that whole area has to be clear to consider moving to the right. And we're going to take off those and do that. Okay. And then we'll duplicate this for the left. And the collider will move over here. Something like that. Is that's evenly spaced? Yes, it is. And then we'll duplicate both of these. And this one will be the floor check, and that one will be the floor check, and on the right like that, and on the left like that. So we want this one colliding and this one not colliding to know that we are safe to walk that way. And actually, I think it's probably best if these are slightly different shape, because what we're most interested in for the floor check is like that area there, really. No. Let's get really precise. That. Like, if this, as soon as that is completely not colliding with anything, then it means there's even just the tiniest little gap there. There's something to dodge. So then let's do the same here. Just give that a new rectangle and make it like that. I think this makes sense. Okay, cool. And so now we can just start to kind of throw these into the script, basically. So boom, 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 and boom. There they all are. And then we sort of want to say we force a new decision to be made, I think, or every time this goes wrong. And we'd also restart the timer. So the timer as well, I want to make a bit more interesting. So it will auto start it at 3 seconds. We'll have the direction be 0. In fact, no, we won't auto start the timer. What we'll do is we'll just tell him on ready, like the first thing you do is make a decision. And whenever we make a decision, after we've made the decision, we should start the timer. So then we say, like, decision timer, start, and we'll start it with a random number, more like 3. Plus 3. So that should mean that we'll have 3, 4, or 5 seconds between decisions. So maybe just plus 2, so it's between 2, 3, and 4 seconds. I think that sounds good. But then we'll also force decisions to be made whenever the kind of normal movement conditions aren't met. So if we're trying to move to the right, then that can only happen so we're not just going to say like if direction. We've got more to concern ourselves with than that. Like, if there's a direction, then we're going to try and move. And if there's no direction, we're going to try and slow down. But like if there is a direction, we also want to check if we can actually move into that direction. So like if direction is 1 and right space check dot get overlapping bodies dot size is 0, and the floor check is greater than 0. So there's something overlapping with the floor, but there's not something overlapping with the space. Then boom. If, and just the same but for the left. So the direction's -1, and the stuff on the left is looking good to go. Then in that case, like, you could also move. But if like neither of those conditions are met, then it means that like we're trying to move right or left, but we can't. So in that case, make a decision. I think this will be intelligent now. Let's see. It's probably just going to give errors straight away. Just moves a very, very tiny bit of space each time. It seems like something's misfiring. But actually, no, he is kind of trapped here. Because he's got the button on that side. And he's got the thing on this side. If we put it on, okay, can we move over to this side a bit more now? If he picks left, is he going to walk over for like 3 or more seconds? Yeah. Okay. What about... I think that is working actually the way I kind of hoped it would. What about if he's like up here? He should be able to not walk off the edge. Yeah, cool. Makes the decision to stop moving. Comes back. Makes the decision to stop moving. Decides immediately to walk in the other direction. Yeah, so that this guy's intelligently just wandering around and not trying to collide with buttons or objects, keeping its distance from those types of things. But he will walk over the door. He sees the door as being land, which is pretty cool. It's annoying the way like we get that sort of slight pixely breaking thing going on there. But looks like it's working. Our guy is kind of done. So I'm going to call that good. That's our NPC, as it were. We could make little variants of the spiders as well, I suppose. They could have different behaviors. But he doesn't change his behavior when we're holding the idle yet. So that's the next thing to add. Now he's kind of working. Now we want to say, basically, your speed is just going to be crazy. It's this. So this is, we'll call this, what have I called it in some of the others? Like on the dart trap. Base cooldown and unlucky cooldown. So we'll have base speed. And then we'll have unlucky speed, which would be like at least double that, I think. Like, would be fun. And then we take base speed and we throw it in here. But I suppose what we're going to really do, we need to, like the dart trap, have a reference to the player here. That. And we want to connect the signals, and in fact we just want to copy all this stuff from the ready function here like that. I feel like make decision should go afterwards. We don't need any of this other stuff. We're just going to be setting the lucky variable. And so And now we can just drop that into here and here and here. And then that needs that. Okay, so now when we pick up the idle, he's going to be walking a lot faster. Also, maybe when he's unlucky, he should never stop moving. Like, the being still thing is only something... I think, okay, so I think, like, I want, like, 2,000. I want, like, lots more speed. And then... make decision direction is one of those. If... if unlucky... we'll just overwrite that. If unlucky, then mod 2. And then if direction, this is like super hacky, but if direction equals 0, then we'll just make it -1. So what we're basically saying is, look, the direction's going to be -1, 0, or 1. But if you're unlucky, pick either 0 or 1, and if it's 0, make it -1. So we're just removing the 0 element. That's probably a fast way of doing that. But I think that should mean now, when you're unlucky, he will never be still. Except he doesn't make a new decision. So that's the other thing. There we go. So he's just going to keep going back and forwards like that. And then he'll slow down. If we pick up the idle and you're unlucky, then make a decision, yeah? And I guess also do that when the idle's put down. Like, we just immediately go, whoa, 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 okay, hold on, something's changed, we can make a new decision. There we go. Now he just immediately starts moving. And I guess, yeah, on smaller platforms like that, because of the way we've done it, they're just gonna, yeah. 2,000 is still quite slow. Let's try, not 45,000, let's try 4,000. So you're just cruising along and then you pick him up, he's like, ah! Yeah, I think that's good. That's gonna make it much more awkward to jump on their heads. And in most cases, I suppose, the whole like decision timer being 2, 3, or 4 seconds between, if it takes less than 2 seconds to get from one side of the platform to the other, then he's just going to keep oscillating like that, right? Which is fine. Okay, right. So I think we're looking pretty good on our feature list now. I consider these spiders to be working. So there's the level exit plinth, and then being able to load levels in and out. So yeah, we're in a pretty good spot. I think we'll just implement this plinth and then we'll call it for today. And I might stream again later this evening, although I'm going out to a gig. But I think this is a good amount of progress for today if we can get the plinth in as well. So let's do that now. Which I think I'll need to find something here. Let's go into Godot. Gravity Boy. Is it going to be in items? Telepad. Yeah. This is it. This is the thing that we want to use. It's a cool little animation that I made. What we need to do is save as and throw it into Temple of Misfortune, elements, new folder, plinth, plinth, anim. In fact, let's just call it plinth. Is that like a word? Have I made that up? A plinth, simple all-in-one platform. Oh, that's a product. A simple all-in-one platform is a description of a plinth. That's some kind of tech company that's called Plinth. Anyway, right. So this, look, now we're presumably this is the. Yes, we're in the Temple of Misfortune version of the file now, and we can load the palette. No, we want to. Where do we get it from? The default palette. That's not what we want. Let's open this bar here, and let's save palette as default, and then come in here and then load default palette. Now we get the palette we want. Okay, cool. And now we can sort it out. So because we want it needs to conform with not the Gravity Boy palette we used, but with the actual the palette we're using for this. Okay, great. And all of these little bits and bobs. Okay, cool. Next color along, which is this one. It goes all along the bottom as well. next color is that one. I believe that's, yeah, that's right. And then it's just the lightest one that's at the top there. Very nice, very nice. Boom, 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 boom. Boom, boom. A boom, 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 boom. Let me hear you say, way-yo. And then, last but not least, the white. And the thing that's cool about this animation is because it cycles through all 4 of the colors. It doesn't matter what your background color is. You get the sense of these sort of little particles being pulled down into the thing, which is rather nice. And then my plan is to just take this. Okay, good. So that's the kind of tedious part done. And now if we make the canvas 32 and expand it from that top down, now we can design the bottom of the plinth, right? So again, this is just can just be a placeholder because I'm not as much as I really love doing art and it's always been a passion. It's not my vibe for this particular project, so we'll just do something for now. You know, like that's probably totally adequate. It doesn't look amazing, but let's add some shading to it as well. And ultimately, it doesn't matter. It's just a placeholder for now. I may end up contributing to the art on this particular one. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. Let me just actually fill that in. And then we'll just put a couple of little highlights on the top edge there and like down there maybe. Put that in there like that. Okay. Let's go with that and then we can grab this. Copy paste. And grab 2 of them. And then grab 4 of them. Oops. And then another 4 will be fine. Okay. I mean, it looks a bit like a cocktail glass at the moment. It looks quite shiny, but let's just go with it because, like I say, the point right now isn't art. I may get involved, but we can get rid of button 2. Good riddance. We can make a new static body 2D and call it plinth and save it in said folder. And then a sprite. Nope. An animated sprite, which we'll still just call sprite anyway. Get some frames, and the frames can be from plinth. And it has, what was it? It was like 11, wasn't it, I think? And then just 1 vertical frame. Yeah, that's right. Add the frames. Show me the money. It's too slow. 20. That's pretty good. 30. 30. Nice. Now we're talking. Okay, that looks wicked. And then he wants to have a collider, which will just be like that. And then we will add an area which we'll call idle detection, and that will have a collider, and that collider will be a nice little rectangle there, on just directly on top of the thing like that. And then this idle detection will be looking for pickupables, and when a body, and so I guess the plinth needs a script. We don't need a template. I guess the template for that's just that, isn't it? That's fine. And the idle detection, when a body enters connect, and if the body is the idle, then like we're done. It's like it's a done deal. So the button script has a few things in it, like this, and then we just want to send connection turn on. If connection turn on. And I guess this also like will create some kind of a state. We want the plinth to eat the idle, basically, don't we? So the whole thing will need to sort of animate at some point, but for now, I mean, this should at least just work like instead of the so let's go into the world here and add a plinth and put it down here or something, or that needs to probably line up with something. See if this is going to work. I think it might be too high. Yeah, okay, first things first, the plinth needs the epic door in as its connection. It's the first thing to check. If we jump up here and pop that on, it is opening the door, so that's good. And it's like a one-way ticket, which is totally fine, because for the big doors, that's what we want. You know what I think I might do? Because you sort of want it like that, so that it like sits on top of the top, on that block like that. So we'll save that there, and then we're gonna sort of adjust the colliders here a bit. And now that should mean we should be able to just drop it straight on top without having to jump first. Perfect. This thing needs to start animating straight away. There we go. Okay, that's cool. Yeah, that's cool. Let's give it another sprite here, called idle sprite, and that's going to be the idle, and we'll pop it there, blocking the animation, which is good. And then that should be not there. And then what we'll do is we'll reference that, and we'll say if it's done, we'll send the connection, we'll turn it on, we will idle sprite dot visible is true, body dot q3, so the actual idle itself will get destroyed and we'll just show the sprite, which will then be, the player won't be able to pick it up. So idle's just like gone from the level. There we go, and that like also locks it into the middle, which looks very nice. We probably want to give it like a collision shape, I guess, so that we can jump on top of it at that point. So if we come back in here, and it's idle detection just looking at 2, so that's fine. So this collider here, we want to like duplicate it and put it up there. And let's make it a unique rectangle, because it probably just needs to be like that. Perfect. And this collider should be disabled by default, and then that's invisible by default, and then we come in here, collider 2, when we make that visible, disabled is false. Is it going to want us to call deferred that? All right, anti-communist, how's it going? Welcome, welcome. How are you? Oh, it still doesn't work though. I guess we're going to have the couldn't do it because I was like flushing queries. Isn't what it says? Well, flushing queries. So this needs to be a call deferred. No, a set deferred on disabled false, like so. Now you can stand on top of it. Perfect. But we can't pick it back up again. That's like it's just locked in. And then down we go. So that's cool. And then this whole thing should probably also have just like an animation where it just kind of folds into itself, where it just goes and just disappears. Didn't know about set deferred. Yeah, set deferred is a good one when it has that little, oh, I can't do it, I'm flushing queries. Whatever that means when it's at home. All right. Right. So, next on the list then, yeah, is to kind of animate this thing so that basically we want the plinth to kind of go into the floor and take the idol with it. Not really sure what that mask is actually doing. Okay. Anyway, I'm wondering about if we need something similar here. Like if on the plinth, would it make the most sense to have some kind of a mask underneath it and then a animation where they just move behind that mask, you know? I mean, I'm also wondering if, because I'm not really sure why a lot of these things are so far back as they are. Can the light masks go at the top? And do they still work? I think so, because we put their Z index up. So they should be fine like there. The tile map. I guess if the plinth is behind the tile map. No, then that doesn't work because the tile map has the background on it as well. For now, it does. There's loads of ways to solve it. I'm just trying to think what the most elegant would be. Because I mean, also the tile maps, we're probably going to end up making new ones, like have a background layer and then have a foreground tile map. So actually, I think let's just do this. I mean, this will be totally fine. We just, I wonder with the animation player, can we just move the entire thing? I guess we can. So, say new animation called sync. And we'll just keyframe the position of the whole thing. And then a second later, we'll add 32 to the Y coordinate like that. And key that It's quite fast. I guess we want it to last as long as the Epic Doors animation lasts, which is 3 seconds, which I thought it was. So that makes sense. So we'll come in here. Let's call this or something. Make that last 3 seconds. Okay, lovely. And then it's not going to autoplay, it's not going to loop, but it is going to get played at this point. So play. And I guess we have to put sync in there probably as well. Let's have a look. Certainly not what I expected to see happen there. Definitely not what I expected. And that time we got bugs. Animation not found. So we do need to say sync. Yeah, all these defaults should be fine. Why? Why would you just immediately disappear? I mean, it's like immediately gone. Can I find it? Like, where did it go, you know? Yeah, it went to 0 and then went down from there. Kind of weird, huh? Why wouldn't it just be like relative? It needs like to have another node above it. Okay, so let's destroy that then. Basically just want to move everything. But what I guess want to do is like have a static body. Call it plinth body. And then put that there. Put everything apart from the animation player into it. Then this can just become a regular old node. And then we'll need to re-reference Collider 2 and the idle sprite like that. And then we'll have the animation player take this guy's position, keyframe it at 0, and then 32. Keyframe that there. And then that should work. Because now it's relative to the node itself being in a certain position. Oh, yeah, okay. So then this just is node 2D there. Come on, then. Let's be having you. Perfect. And yes, I can still see it there, but I can walk through the area it used to be in, and in the long run, ooh, you see how it wiggled? In the long run, we'll position this between the foreground tile map and the background tile map. So that will work. And then we'll just do that, and we'll save there, and we'll call the plinth finished. So yeah, this is all looking rather nice. Yeah, I'm quite happy with it. Yeah, I mean, without a lot more art now, there's not much more to do. Like, it's level design and it's adding assets. I suppose I could start adding in like main menus and things and just structuring some of that stuff. But you know, we've been streaming for over 3 hours now. I think I might actually leave it here. I think that's a good spot for us to finish up in. There's some things I want to do here, like water, visuals, proper instanceable scene, instanceable and scalable scene, and in fact, let's put this as its own topic here, because we've got the proper instanceable and scalable scene thing that we want to do, but then we also want to have water level adjustments, connection from buttons, potentially. Yeah, that's something to add, to do. So then let's start fleshing these out. So in this level design section, we're gonna have like 3 worlds and what, like 5 levels per world maybe, or 3 levels per world. 3 worlds, 3 levels per world. That's probably good to go. So we have like jungle world, and I'm gonna separate these out like this because we can make notes like what our ideas for each level in each world is going to be. So we're going to have jungle world level 1, 2 and 3, then ruins is like the second world I was thinking, and then finally you're inside the temple itself. So I think that looks nice. Menus, splash screen, main menu, settings menu, audio and palette options. So on this occasion we will have a few more options in our settings menu than we normally do. Credit screen, we always like to have one of those. Game over / thanks for playing. Yeah, adding sound, adding art, and adding potion juice. We'll just leave those for now. Yeah, I think this is good. So, boom. Thank you all for watching, one and all. Big up yourselves. Happy Wednesday. And yeah, I will see you in the next stream, whenever that may be. Well, it will be tomorrow. It will for sure be tomorrow. So I'll speak to them. Alright, peace guys. Catch you later. Pow.